We've heard a lot about Poland and its beautiful, sometimes untouched landscapes. But we'd never been to this area before. And so, in June 2025, we set off in our motorhome to explore the north and northeast of Poland. We set off early this morning from our campsite in Gdansk. We made a stop in the small town of Puck. The small holiday and port town is located 45 kilometers north of Gdansk on the Bay of Gdansk, the district capital of the region. We walked to the small marina. A strong wind was still blowing. The promenade was still deserted at this early hour. The Gothic brick church of St. Peter and St. Paul stands almost directly on the seafront. Compared to the many churches we've already seen, this one is almost inconspicuous. The market square is not far from the church. The square is large. Many smaller, sometimes colorful, houses adorn the square. It's clear that the community has put a lot of effort into enhancing the square with its fountain and bronze sculpture. The connection between the lion and the dolphin in the sculpture isn't immediately obvious. But a little information points the way to a fable. The place doesn't seem to offer much else in the way of sights, so we continue north. West of the town of Grossendorf, at the entrance to the Hell Peninsula, we find a beautifully landscaped Alexic campsite, located on a cliff right by the sea. It also seems to be the only campsite in Poland that offers a direct view of the sea. Unfortunately, our pitch doesn't have this wonderful view. In the afternoon, we saddle up our bikes and ride to the nearby main town of Grossendorf. The beach is already somewhat sparsely populated here. But the children's clothing reflects how fresh the wind still is. We are surprised to see such a modern church here. Modern hotels and apartment complexes have been built close to the beach. The harbor is a real fishing port with a large pier. At the end of the pier is an observation deck overlooking the Hell Peninsula. Tetrapods and a long sea wall protect the harbor. Pictures enhance the gray concrete. From a distance, you can see a tower. Upon closer inspection, it looks like a hotel. The town hall is also located on the lower floor. The souvenir and food court doesn't exactly attract us. So we head back to the campsite. Sunset is very early here at 9:30 p.m. But it's worth watching the idyllic setting of the sun over the sea. Down in the water, I see a woman cheering as the cold waves lap over her. A few people are standing there with me, wrapped up warmly, also watching the spectacle. The next day, I want to cycle to the seaside resort of Hell, 34 kilometers away, on the peninsula of the same name. The cycle path runs alongside the road and railway line on the side facing away from the sea. Open rows of trees occasionally offer views of the Bay of Gdansk. Halfway through the route, however, I'm frustrated because the bike path is more like an obstacle course. So-called blow-ups in the tarmac make cycling at 25 kilometers per hour a painful experience. So I plan to take the train from the small town of Kalipi towards the final stop, Hell. This town also has some very nice new hotels and resorts. Even in Poland, trains don't always seem to be on time, as this one arrives half an hour late. I actually thought I'd find huge hotel complexes here in hell, but I'm pleasantly surprised to find many detached houses here. A pier protects the town from the Bay of Gdansk. Here near the town, quite a few people are lying on the beach. Today is also the first day that it's really pleasantly warm. People are practically drawn to the beach. And of course, there are also many souvenir stands and food stalls. The promenade is long, and every now and then people sit on benches, enjoying the sun. After the beach comes the fishing port, but the journey continues. This is where the nature reserve begins. But it's also where the old defensive positions from World War II are located. I approach the outermost tip of the peninsula. Here, the fine, light sand beach widens. The number of people is manageable. I don't want to know what happens here during the holiday season, when the train from Gdansk arrives and spits out the vacationers. I treat myself to a coffee at a beach cafe before heading back. Several signs pointing to hidden bunkers show me the way there. There's even a guided tour inside this one. The lighthouse on the edge of town is difficult to find, as it's located in the middle of the forest. And then I finally see the street, where the restaurants are already full at lunchtime. What will it look like here on a warm summer evening? I also discovered something to satisfy my hunger, a bakery selling pastries with lard, a little delicacy. I follow the pedestrian zone. The small, idyllic, partly historic houses remind me of the East Frisian Islands. The locals here seem to have a sense of how to preserve the natural beauty of the place. At the train station, however, I was worried about whether I would actually be able to catch the train. So many people and cyclists were waiting on the platform. And then I finally found a place to stand for my folding bike and me. To sum it up, it's amazing what the sun can do. People are taking to the streets and beaches. Everything suddenly seems friendly and full of life. At least, that's how it was for us, who were now able to have breakfast outside in front of the motorhome for the first time in the morning. Apparently, the vacation had just begun.